It seems we've been thrown in a new, fresh hell. But first things first, did they take my possessions? Be quiet, I'm speaking. They did! Damn it. I was expecting them not to do their job properly, so I can't bribe my way out of here. Alright, cell door and wall. Maybe I can talk my way out of here.
The door to the cell was so stereotypical I half expected to look around and find a bearded old man manacled to the wall.
I was half expecting that too.
I pounded on the door, but no one seemed to care. The wall to the cell had a nice dank feel to it.
Can I smash through it?
I expect it was Cell Wall of the Month in Home and Dungeon.
Yeah, it's pretty adequate decor.
I could find nothing out of the ordinary about the wall.
Well, I'm out of ideas. Who can I talk to? There's not much to do here. I genuinely am out of ideas.
Malachite had been hacked to death with my crowbar.
My crowbar? I can select things from here. Can I use them on things?
Apart from being the reason I got stuck in this cell, Malachite's murder had nothing to do with that.
Oh, okay, so I can take subjects from...
The wall to the...
Subjects from my notebook and drag them to things. Maybe, hasn't come up yet, but I haven't really been using that mechanic at all. So maybe it's a waiting game, since I literally have nothing to do here. Aha! Something.
The rat had disappeared in a small crack in the wall.
There was a rat?
The question was, where had he gone?
I didn't even notice there was a rat.
As I worked my fingers around the crack, it became clear that the crack was the side of a loose slab.
A block.
The block was loose, and I was certain I could move it.
Well, do it, man, do it!
The other side of the wall was another cell, but nothing like the holding cell. This was full of sketches and models, tools and materials. It looked more like a workshop, and there was someone working in it.
Would you like a cup of tea?
I would like a cup of tea, yes.
No, thanks.
Are you sure? Or are they not drinking tea outside anymore?
Well, fancy holding cell you have, friend.
Outside?
The city. I take it you're from the city. How is it? Same as ever, I suppose.
Yeah, same as ever.
You're Leonard de Quirm.
Yes, I am.
I'd found Leonard de Quirm. The man was almost a legend. There was no disputing that Leonard was a technological genius. But this meant he was as dangerous to the precarious stability of Ankh-Morpork as a compulsive smoker in a firework factory. Rumor had it that the patrician had locked him in a nice airy cell for everyone's safety, because Leonard was the kind of guy who'd light any fuse for the innocent pleasure of seeing what kind of bang he could make. The only other thing I could recall was that although the guy was hot stuff with the nuts and bolts, he was definitely at the bottom of the class when it came to thinking up names. The patrician keeps you imprisoned here,
Sorry?
You're working for the patrician?
Not really. He calls from time to time and has a look at some of my sketches. Nice man. He keeps me abreast of events on the outside.
What's that you're working on?
This is my flapping wing flying device.
Indeed, absolutely terrible at names.
I built a small prototype out of gutta percha strips, twisted tightly together, and it worked, although not very well. Now I'm building a full-scale model.
Does it fly?
Not yet, but once I've solved the problem of the weight of the holding it together frame and the mechanical faults with the spinning blades radiating from the central hub, it should do.
Well, at least you always know what everything does. It's pretty much in the name of it.
I was having trouble getting enough force to twist the blades together, but the troll the other week sorted that out for me.
Troll?
Yes. He was staying in your room before you. He made this window for me so I could watch the birds. Always good for inspiration are the birds. Not that I don't have enough inspiration as it is.
He was talking about malachite.
Damn things.
Damn things. I'm also eating a cookie. Damned cookies. So good.
Just once I'd like to wake up without finding my sheets covered in sketches of novel designs for apple peelers.
Did you give the troll some metal strips by any chance?
Yes. He made them into a metal hook with prongs, I believe. Not one of my designs.
His name was Malachite.
Was it? It's possible. I never was good with names.
All right, Leonard, my good man, I'm just gonna inspect everything in your room, and then we'll have a chat.
Covered with wood, wire, paints, drawing materials, sketches, cartoons, and glue. The table was either the product of a highly deranged or a highly arranged mind. There was nothing useful to me on the table.
Nothing at all?
Well, nothing useful that wasn't glued down, or that I thought Leonard wouldn't notice missing.
Yeah, fair enough. He seems the type to notice everything. So I can't really take anything from him.
Leonard of Quirm was a renowned genius with the usual problem that geniuses have with relating to other people. He was clearly one of those people who started to look old around 30. And he wasn't exactly bald. It was more like his head had just grown up through his hair.
Well, that's a good excuse for people who are balding. My head just grew up above my hair. What do we have here? Gaping hole. Oh, this is the window he was talking about, right?
The gaping hole had been created by Malachite to escape from the palace. Leonard liked to think of it as a window. At that moment, I thought I heard the sound of someone at the door to my cell. My heart leapt to my throat and narrowly missed my tonsils. I had to get back to my cell and fast.
Hello, Luton.
Oh, but I didn't talk to him. Damn it, I have to redo this. Damn.
Hello again, Leonard.
Yes. Hello?
Damn, these cookies are good.
What are you doing?
I'm deeply immersed in a mechanical problem.
Can I help?
It's not likely.
I kept waiting for him to say something else, but he was lost in his work.
Oh, alright, so we didn't miss much. He just is a busy man. Right, back to our regular schedule of going through the gaping hole.
Useful though they are, an exit is just an exit. The gaping hole had been created by Malachite to escape from the palace. Leonard liked to think of it as a window. At that moment, I thought I heard the sound of someone at the door to my cell. My heart leapt to my throat and narrowly missed my tonsils. I had to get back to my cell and fast.
Hello, Luton.
Nobby, what are you doing here?
I've come to let you go.
Does Vimes know you're here?
Yeah. He sent me.
What happened?
There's a witness to Malachite's murder. Saw the whole thing, although not very well. He couldn't identify the killer, but from the description we got from him, we can rule out you.
So, I'm off the hook?
More or less.
Vimes must be livid.
I've seen him happier, but he's still convinced you're involved.
I dare say he has a point, actually. But I'm not a cold-blooded killer, whatever he may think. Who was the witness?
A gargoyle up on the roof of the clerk's office on Salis Street.
What did he see?
I'm not supposed to discuss that with you. Come on, let's get you out of here.
You won't get any arguments from me.
Right, here's your stuff.
Where's the crowbar? Yeah. Right. I'll see you around now. Thanks for coming to get me out. I appreciate it.
That's what friends are for, isn't it?
Friends are for getting you out of a holding cell?
Could be. I ain't got that many.
You won't get any argument from me. See you later. I had this feeling that I was caught in the middle of something big, but I still hadn't a clue what it was. All I could do was keep searching and hope that sooner or later I'd stumble upon the truth. Well, maybe not stumble, just very carefully put my foot on it and hope the other end didn't come up and hit me in the teeth.
So we're off the hook, apparently. And thanks, Nobby. Thanks for getting me out of jail. And since I misclicked there, he said that my crowbar is being held as evidence, so we're not gonna have our trusty crowbar anymore. Malachite is dead, though, and we still haven't met Therma. Yep, this place is empty now. No more Malachite. Oh, this used to be his favorite spot. Oh, Malachite, you will be missed, I guess. I suppose. We can go back to the Patrician's Palace and maybe talk to Leonardo again. Oh. Hey, guys.
Two of the palace guards, ever vigilant for a potential intruder. Something like that, anyway. Shouldn't you have stopped me by now?
What? What do you mean?
Well, I'm practically into the palace itself, and you haven't even asked who I am.
We can already tell you aren't important.
Not important? I might be a foreign spy.
Accent's too clean for that. I'd say you were born here in Ankh-Morpork.
How can you tell?
Accents. He knows them all.
Ah, hidden talents, eh?
We're guards. All our talents are hidden.
So, you're members of the illustrious palace guards, are you?
Illustrious? Do you know what it means to be a palace guard?
Not really, no. Why don't you tell me?
We're arrow fodder. If anyone with half-decent skills breaks into the palace, you'll be picking our limbs out of the tapestries.
How messy. Can you not bleed on the tapestries, please?
So why do you do it?
It beats being in the city watch.
Ah, fair point.
And the uniforms are much nicer, too.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. At least you get some sort of armor?
You used to be in the City Watch, didn't you?
You can tell that from my accent.
Would I lie to you?
Wow, he is good with accents.
So, you're an expert on accents.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell all sorts of things about you.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Like what?
From the stress in your voice, I'd say you experienced a major emotional event about 8 years ago.
How are you doing this?
You like to drink, but if you're not careful, you drink to excess. And you like whiskey.
That really is incredible. Anything else?
That's about it.
You didn't say which part of the city I was born in.
No. That's trickier.
You can tell that I drink whiskey from my accent, but you can't tell which part of the city I was born in.
It's a very particular set of skills.
Well, it comes and goes.
You don't know anything about accents, do you?
You just read my case file.
Of course he doesn't. He just has a good memory.
You were in the bucket a couple of years ago. You were probably too drunk to remember it.
A couple of years ago, I was too drunk to remember anything. So if you don't know anything about accents, how do you know I'm not a threat to the palace?
If you knew what it was we were guarding, you'd understand.
What is it you're guarding?
Every way into and out of the palace has to be guarded, and we guard one of those.
That's a little vague.
We guard the vital export of post-palatial merchandise.
We guard the trash heap.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Where is it?
The trash heap? It's around the corner.
But don't steal anything. That's palace garbage. By royal appointment.
Well, by the patrician's appointment.
That's good enough for me.
Guys, do you know you're in an adventure game All the good stuff is in the trash heap.
Is it really that dangerous working for the palace?
Oh, yeah. Our lives could come to a bloody end at any moment.
He's lying, of course. He's always lying. No enemies have ever entered Ankh-Morpork since it was founded.
What about the dwarf attack in the reign of Veltric II? Or the barbarian invasion in the time of Webblethorpe the Unconscious?
Well, of course, technically, we've been invaded quite frequently, but, you know how it is. The guys arrive, they meet a nice local girl, and anyway their leaders suddenly don't want all the big houses burned down because now they own them, and they find sleeping on real beds is a treat after all that time in the saddle, and what with one thing and another, it all ends peacefully.
Happily ever after.
In other words, you don't have much to do.
Well, there's a lot of standing around to do. But it's not like the golden age of the kings of Ankh.
The Golden Age?
Well, it was a time long enough ago that no one can remember how wretched it was.
Do you know a lot about the kings of Ankh?
Oh, sure. The whole history of the monarchy.
How come?
Oh, hanging around palaces. You pick up that kind of thing.
What happened to the kings of Ankh?
Well, the real line came to an end about 2,000 years ago. And after that, we got 17 centuries of a monarchy where the crown was available to anyone with enough soldiers and a strong stomach.
That couldn't have been very stable.
Stable? Ha! Not many lines survived more than 2 or 3 generations. Some of them didn't even make it to the end of the coronation feast.
The shortest reign on record was that of Loyola the Arg at 1.13 seconds.
Can't have been much of a monarch.
That's nothing. For a week, Ankh-Morpork was technically ruled by a wasp. And for several days, by the left foot of the High Priest of Io, who dropped the crown on it during the crucial point of the ceremony.
The foot was one of the better rulers, apparently. Made good decisions.
The history of this city is just amazingly rich. They were ruled by a wasp and a foot. And those were the best leaders. Oh dear. Well, let's talk about murder.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
Have we heard that a mad assassin is coming after the patrician? Of course.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to ignore the prospect of being carved up by some psychopathic killer.
And as you mentioned before, we would be picking off your limbs off the tapestries?
If he's a good assassin, he wouldn't need to kill any of the guards.
That's not very comforting, is it?
It's a little comforting.
I mean, our only hope of survival is that this guy is good enough that we don't stand a chance against him.
Which might be the case, very probable.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
You mean apart from being hacked into minced beef by a foreign killer?
I suppose he might just kill the patrician and let us live. Then we'd only have to worry about being killed by the Assassin's Guild.
Why would they get involved?
What?
He's got this idea in his head that the patrician has given an advance to the Assassin's Guild so that in the event of his death, all of his bodyguards meet the same fate.
Did he think one of you guys would kill him?
Where did you get that idea from?
This priest down at the Temple of Small Gods, he knows everything that's going on in the city.
Which one?
This priest you mentioned. His name wouldn't be Malaclips, would it?
That's the one. Do you know him?
We've met. What do you make of him?
I reckon he's the only one in the city who knows what's really going on.
I know, right?
Which is funny, because I think he's a deranged lunatic whose only pleasure in life is getting gullible fools to listen to him.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm a gullible fool, am I? Who bought those magic beans off that gypsy the other month?
Hey, you should have tried the casserole we made with them. It was magic.
All right, let's talk about the next murder, Monday's murder.
Can you think of any reason that Monday might have been hung upside down before he was killed?
We don't know nothing about any murders, all right?
All right.
Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
We don't...
You don't know.
What do you know about the murder of Mount Malachite?
We don't know...
You don't know.
I didn't want to discuss the golden... This was clearly something that was worth keeping quiet about. The palace buys a lot of wine, doesn't it?
Why do you want to know?
Just a casual interest in wine.
Your only interest in alcohol is whiskey, and that's more than a casual interest.
It's a hobby.
Most hobbies don't leave you unconscious on the barroom tiles.
What if your hobby is painting? Those painting fumes are something else.
Where do the barrels end up?
Around the corner.
Aha!
Well, when they've been emptied, they do.
Do you know anything about the crate belonging to the von Uberwalds that was on the Milka?
Do we look like we know anything about the cargo business?
Kind of? Maybe?
Do you know anything about the Varburg crates that...
Do we look like...
With the Assassin's Guild looking...
So we can't ask anyone about a hiding place. We're still looking for that. What else can we talk to you bozos about?
The jewel wasn't the kind of thing I wanted to discuss with just anyone.
Okay, well, can I show you stuff from my inventory? This key.
I didn't want...
No.
I wasn't about...
Nope, nothing. Maybe I can just go to the trash heap? They won't let me, will they? That'd be... Ooh, I can go 2 ways. Aha! To the trash heap.
The empty barrels at the foot of the palace wall looked like they used to have wine in them. As far as I could tell, the barrels were just like the ones in the wine cellar of the Café Ankh, although these ones were empty.
There is a little bit of pixel hunting that you need to do in this game. Wall barrels. Because it's very easy to miss things. I did up the luminosity in the game, but it's still quite easy to miss a little thing that might lead you to the next plot device.
The palace walls were useful for keeping intruders out and keeping the roof in place.
So, walls in general.
Looking closely, I could see the other side of the hole in the wall that I'd seen from inside Leonard's cell.
How is that relevant? I guess we'll find out later. What else do we have in here?
What was I going to do? Scale the walls with my bare hands?
Oh, I'd like to see that. But maybe not now. This will probably be a relevant place later. Now, I have completely forgotten what I was doing. I have so many cases open, but let's go to the Temple of the Small Gods, since you mentioned this place. Oh, Malaclips.
I need your help again, Malaclips.
That...
Why was Malachite killed then?
He knew too much.
About?
Are we talking about the same Malachite?
I don't think so.
Do you know anything about Reagan's murder?
Reagan was secretly a member of the Dwarfish Tongs. He was rubbed out in a gangland skirmish between the Shin-Kicker Triad and the Neck Cleaver Elite.
Well, that explains something. No, I have no idea what you're talking about, Malclips, as usual. Where was that rooftop, though, where the murder happened? Can I access that? Where was it? Waldland, Saturn. Ah, here we go. Maybe I can talk to that gargoyle. There he is. Oh, and there's Malachite's huge chalk outline.
They'd put a chalk outline where Malachite had fallen. It really drove home how big that troll was. I couldn't think of a good reason to erase the chalk outline other than the giddy thrill of vandalism.
Teehee. Any clues? Alright, let's talk to Gable.
The gargoyle's name was Clark's Gable, and he had
Clark's
witnessed
Gable.
what had happened on the roof with me and Malachite. It was probably the first exciting thing to happen to him in decades.
Must be pretty boring. Is he also spitting out water? Wow, what a job.
Are you the gargoyle that witnessed the troll's murder? Clark's Gable?
That's right.
That's a perfect accent for a gargoyle.
I don't suppose you could talk a little more clearly.
Thing is, I have a gutter in my mouth. Have you ever tried to speak with a gutter in your mouth?
Have I ever tried to hick with a what?
A gutter! A gutter in your mouth!
Oh, with a gutter in my mouth.
Yes!
Sorry, I guess I haven't given much thought to the orally challenged.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
I heard you saw the murder that took place here the other night.
Sure did.
Mind if I ask you some questions about it?
Be my guest.
So you're a gargoyle, then?
What kind of a conversation opening do you call that, eh?
Slightly polite one.
Don't you get bored being stuck in the same place for so long?
You get used to it. Mating is a bit of a pain.
How do you mate?
You must be incredibly patient.
Oh, I always have plenty of things to think about.
Such as?
Well, like, is it raining? Or doesn't that cloud look like a really big cloud?
Oh, the fun never stops when you're up on the rooftops.
Yup, it's a party all the time.
You said it.
Yep. Mating. Yeah, let's talk more about this. How the fuck do you mate?
How do gargoyles mate?
Very slowly.
You can move, though.
Course. How do you think I got here in the first place,
Then why don't you?
Look, I don't criticise you for running about like your brain would stop if your body stopped moving. So don't criticise me and my lifestyle, eh?
You know what? You're completely right. You do you, gargoyle.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cause any offense.
That's okay. We're none of us perfect.
So let's talk about the murder. Malachite's murder.
Can you tell me what you saw the other night?
When the troll was killed, eh?
Has anything else interesting happened recently?
Well, I got a pigeon yesterday. That's a rarity. Mostly they steer clear of the rooftops that are colonised by gargoyles.
I wonder what the voice actor had in his mouth when he was recording this. I doubt it was a gutter.
Putting that to one side, what did you see the other night?
Well, I can only tell you what I told the watch. I saw you and the big troll come up the ladder, only once you were on the roof, it was hard to make out what was going on because of the shadows.
You don't have night vision as a gargoyle?
But I saw the troll get savaged repeatedly by some kind of creature, some kind of beast.
A beast?
Yeah, that's the best description I can give you.
It's not much help, but thanks all the same.
What for?
For getting me out of jail.
No problem. Glad I could help. If you could toss the odd pigeon up here next time they're passing, I'd be grateful, yeah.
Anytime. I'll gladly bring as many pigeons as you want. I don't know what you do to them, though. Bestial attacker. You wouldn't have happened to see any other further away murders.
You can see the Magdalen Bridge from here, can't you?
Sure.
I don't suppose you saw a carriage drive off the bridge the other night.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
What happened?
Let me see, I remember the carriage coming flying along the bridge.
The driver was a dwarf, I think, and he went into convulsions just before the carriage went out of control. The next thing I know, there's someone coming out of the back of the carriage.
What did they look like?
My eyesight's not that good. All I know is that as the driver went limp, the other person cut the reins. The horse ran off, the carriage careened into the river, and this other person leapt clear.
That's all you saw?
That's about it,
Interesting. So a lot more happened with that Regan's murder case.
Can you think of any reason that Monday might have been...
Sorry.
Do you know anything about the counterweight killings?
Sorry.
Sorry.
I gave Carlotta's description to Clark's Gable, but I couldn't help but wonder if Al-Khali had been up on the rooftops, but the gargoyle didn't recognize his description.
Well, it was a long shot.
Out of curiosity, I checked with the gargoyle to see if Ilsa or two conkers had been up on the roof. It didn't seem like they had.
Interesting. Who else can I ask the gargoyle about? Jasper Horst.
As a long shot, I asked if Clark's Gable had seen Horst up on the roof. Not surprisingly, he hadn't. Is there anything more you can tell me about this bestial attacker?
Nah, nothing springs to mind.
Well, you've been very helpful.
Do you mind if I come back if I have any more questions?
I'm not going anywhere.